Okay, so I need to get this off my chest because this is a topic that has been bothering me for years. Now, I am not ashamed to admit I used to be a huge fan of Dora the Explorer. My parents didn't have cable, so I didn't get Nickelodeon. However, I did have a good chunk of VHS tapes. Yes, I had VHS tapes. That's how old I am, kids. And I actually enjoyed the show. Rewatching it as an adult, I'll admit it's not a great show, but it is relatively harmless, and I've seen a lot worse kids shows, so it does have a soft spot in my heart. Except for one episode. One episode of Dora the Explorer that, rewatching this, is insane. It is literally the craziest thing you will ever see on Nickelodeon, let alone Nick Jr. And what bothers me the most is that there is no YouTube critic who has talked about this episode. It's bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. And I'm not going to stand for it. I am going to be the first person on YouTube to ever talk about this episode and why I think it is insane. Now, I will tell you that I'm not going to show you clips from the episode because, one, I don't have editing software and I don't know how to do that. And two, even if I did show you clips, my video would probably get struck for copyright by Paramount. So, gotta make do with what you got. I'm recording this off of my phone. You have to sit here and watch me, a guy that looks like an AI-generated Jeffrey Dahmer, talk about an episode of Dora the Explorer. And I'm not going to hold back on spoilers, but do you honestly care if I spoil an episode of Dora the Explorer that came out on the year 2000? Whatever. You've been warned. So, this episode in particular is called Sticky Tape. And it is insane. How insane? Well, it starts off like your typical Dora the Explorer episode. Hola, I'm Dora, and I'm Boots. And all of a sudden we hear a voice, Sticky Tape! And we look up and we see it's their friend Benny the Bull, who for some reason is in a hot air balloon. It's never explained why he's there, but that hot air balloon happens to have a hole in it and it will crash. And if you've ever seen a hot air balloon crash, it is not good. So, already, this episode has set the tone for how strangely dark it is. So, they need sticky tape to fix that hole. And thankfully, Dora just so happens to have sticky tape in her backpack. Okay, just don't question it. But she gets it out of her backpack, of course, doing the whole backpack song. And they're running off to save her until they realize something. Where is that balloon gonna land? Well, thankfully, the map just knows the exact place where it's going to land. Don't question it, just accept it. Now, before I tell you where it's going to land, I just need to let you know, this is where it gets insane. Like, how did this air on Nick Jr.? So, we see the map in the background. There's a little river, a pink mountain, and a little pond. So, okay, that balloon's going to land in that little pond because that's the last place on the map. I'm sure Benny can swim, right? It's called Crocodile Lake. The balloon is going to land in a place called Crocodile Lake. And let's just say I'm wearing this shirt that I got from Costa Rica for a reason. So not only is the hot air balloon going to crash, but Benny's going to get eaten alive by a bunch of hungry crocodiles. Again, how did this air on Nick Jr.? And so they just walk on, Dora and Boots. Sorry, I had a brain fart for a second. Dora and Boots are just walking around doing their thing. Come on, Dominoes, everybody, let's go. And I'm thinking, screw that crap, run and save your friend. He's going to die. I get it. In a typical Dora episode, they're probably going to save a bunny or whatever. But no, this is a matter of life and death. Run. So, of course, they're just meandering along, and all of a sudden, Dora's backpack falls off because the strap broke. Now, the logical thing would be to leave the backpack there and just run because you've already got the sticky tape out of it. You don't need anything else. But no, she stops and goes to get her backpack and uses her magic lasso tape to fix its strap. Which, by the way, she just rips a piece of that tape off, uses it a lasso, and just... it's automatically fixed. Whatever, this is the least insane part you will see. And so they get to the first place, which is a place called Windy River. And, as the name would suggest, it uses its wind to blow Benny even further away, near to his death at Crocodile Lake. Now, the logical thing would be to just jump in and swim across, but hey, there's a boat there, even better. But the boat has 5 holes in its sail. Okay, so the logical thing would be ditch the boat, just swim and run, but no. Dora just rips up tape monotonously while teaching kids how to count to 5 in Spanish. I get that this is educational TV and you need to teach this stuff, but no. You just lassoed that tape on your backpack like it was nothing. Just rip up a tape and just stick it on the sail. But no, they stretch it even further as Benny gets closer to his death. So they get across and they're still meandering like, come on, Dominoes, everybody, let's go. But are you really that sociopathical to not care that your friend is going to get eaten alive by a bunch of crocodiles? I think I'm losing my mind. So they go across the road once more, and the wind blows a bird's nest off. And I'm thinking, leave them there. There's another blue friend whose life is more important than those birds. But no, she uses more of her lasso tape and sticks it up on that tree. This is a real episode that aired on Nick Jr. And so they're moseying along once more, and all of a sudden, it's Swiper the Fox. Now, the logical thing would be tell Swiper, knock that crap off. We have a friend who might die and get eaten alive by crocodiles, but no. They have to stretch it out and do the whole Swiper no swiping crap. So they get to their next place, which is a place called Slippery Rock. Now, this rock is literally the size of a dirt mound. You could easily walk around it and not slip and fall. But no, Dora chooses to go over the rock, even though, like I said, the rock is not that tall. Go around it. But no, she uses more of her tape to stick on her and Boots' feet so they can somehow stick to the rock and not slip. I don't think that's how tape works. And of course, they get across, even though they could have easily just went around that rock and not waste more of their tape. Oh, but then we finally get to Crocodile Lake. Benny is heading near to death, and the crocodiles are going to be having beef tonight. So Dora and Boots are finally doing what they should have been doing and running like crap when all of a sudden Swiper the Fox comes up and he swings on a vine like he's freaking Tarzan and swipes that tape and throws it off nowhere. Well, Swiper's a murderer now because they lost their tape. So Dora and Boots have to do this whole monotonous thing where the mouse tries to find the tape. You know, that mysterious blue mouse that hovers in the background for whatever reason. They find their tape, and Benny is just a few blocks away from Crocodile Lake, which we finally get a good view of, and the name is false advertising, because it's not a lake, it is a pond. It is literally the size of a pond. In future episodes, they see Crocodile Lake, and it's actually the size of a lake, but for whatever reason, it's the size of a pond. I'm serious, if you can find this episode on like Paramount Plus or whatever, and you watch Sticky Tape, and you see that lake, it's the size of a freaking pond! Oh, I'm losing my mind. But they finally make it to the balloon. Benny throws down a ladder, they climb up, and all of a sudden, that ladder breaks in half, because it's a rope ladder. And so, Dora and Boots use their magic lasso tape, which I'm pretty sure is Golden Flex Seal. Hey, Flex Seal works. And they finally make their way into the hot air balloon until they realize, oh crap, what are we going to do? Those crocodiles have just jumped up and now ripped that ladder off of the hot air balloon. And as they're getting inches and inches away from near death, Boots climbs up the hot air balloon, just takes a single strip of that tape, sticks it onto the hole. And the crocodiles just sit there going, that's it. They don't even say a word. They just look at the balloon and then they're in the water just... They're like they're Pac-Man or something. If you've ever watched a nature documentary, Crocodiles have the ability to just jump up in the air and just grab crap out of the air. But no, they just sit there. But thankfully, a gust of wind just happens to lift the balloon higher, and the crocs just sit and watch, thinking that they have missed their lunch. And so they finally sing the, "Yay, we did it, we did it, we did it, hooray!" Until you remember, wait a minute. The crocodiles just ripped the ladder off of the balloon. How are they going to get down? Well, it's never explained because the episode ends and they just say, "We had such a fun time today. What was your favorite part?" Well, my favorite part was not getting killed by crocodiles, that's for sure. And it just ends. Like, how? How did this air on Nick Jr. or Nickelodeon? How did this air on television? I think I just lost my mind just talking about the plot of this episode because it's insane. If there are any other YouTube critics who are watching this, review that episode. You have more footage like editing software than I do because I'm literally just recording this off my phone. Somebody needs to make a full-on review of this. Saberspark, Mr. Enter, whoever. Nostalgia Critic. Okay, yeah, Doug, if you're watching this, review that episode of Dora the Explorer. I'm sure you could milk great jokes out of it. It is the craziest thing I have ever seen on television, and I am sorry that I have wasted your time with 11 minutes of me just ranting about this episode in particular, but that's it. Anyways, that's all. I'm gonna go watch something smart and less insane. Oh my God.